Picture this. A young man of 28 stands before a firing squad. The rifles are raised. The command is about to be given. Then, at the final moment, a messenger arrives with a reprieve from the Tsar himself. This was Fyodor Dostoevsky in 1849. That brush with death transformed him from a promising novelist into one of humanity's greatest explorers of the human condition. Dostoevsky lived through extremes that would break most people. Born in 1821, he published his first novel at 25. After his near execution, he spent a decade in Siberian labor camps. He battled gambling addiction, epilepsy, and crushing poverty. Yet from this crucible of suffering emerged masterworks like Crime and Punishment and The Brothers Karamazov. What sets Dostoevsky apart from other great Russian writers like Tolstoy or Chekhov? He didn't just observe human nature from the drawing room. He experienced life from the very bottom to the heights of literary fame. He was, as Albert Einstein once noted, someone who gives me more than any scientist. Today, I want to share 8 profound lessons from Dostoevsky's work and life. These aren't academic observations. They're hard-won insights from a man who stared into the abyss of human existence and found wisdom there. Lesson 1. The mystery of self-knowledge. Man is a mystery, Dostoevsky wrote. I am studying that mystery because I want to be a human being. Consider Raskolnikov, the tormented protagonist of Crime and Punishment. Here's a man who commits murder, yet cannot explain his own motivations. Was it poverty, ambition, a twisted desire to prove his superiority? Even he doesn't know. This contradiction reveals a disturbing truth. We often act without truly understanding ourselves. In our fast-paced world, we rarely pause for genuine self-reflection. We move like fish in a school, following currents we haven't examined. Self-doubt, uncomfortable as it is, can prevent tremendous suffering. If Raskolnikov had questioned his deeper motivations, he might have sought help instead of picking up an axe. The lesson? Before making major decisions, ask yourself the hard questions. What am I really after? What fears am I avoiding? Sometimes the most courageous thing we can do is admit we don't fully understand our own hearts. Lesson 2. When dreams become nightmares. The world says, "You have Ned satisfy them," Dostoevsky observed. "You have as much right as the rich and the mighty. Don't hesitate to expand your needs and demand more." This is the worldly doctrine of today. Sound familiar? We live in an achievement culture that constantly pushes us to dream bigger, reach higher, accumulate more. Success is measured in dollars, followers, and status symbols. But Dostoevsky warns us about the dark side of ambitious dreaming. Raskolnikov believed not only that anything was possible, but that he had a duty to make extraordinary things happen. His dreams of greatness became his nightmare. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have aspirations. Rather, we should ask ourselves, are we chasing success to fill a void? Are our dreams driven by genuine purpose or by society's expectations? Sometimes contentment is more valuable than conquest. Sometimes asking, what would make me truly happy, is more important than asking, how can I get ahead? Lesson 3. The necessity of suffering. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. This might be Dostoevsky's most difficult lesson for modern ears. We live in a culture dedicated to eliminating discomfort. We have apps for anxiety, pills for sadness, and endless distractions from difficult emotions. But Dostoevsky, writing from his experience of near-death and hard labor, understood something profound. Suffering isn't just inevitable, it's necessary. It shapes us, deepens us, teaches us compassion. The unnamed narrator in Notes from Underground realizes that much of our suffering comes from believing we deserve better. We rage against partners who disappoint us, societies that constrain us, bodies that fail us. In trying to eliminate all suffering, we often create more. Consider how suffering has shaped your own character. Your greatest growth likely came not from your easiest moments, but from your most challenging ones. As Dostoevsky noted, man is a creature that can get accustomed to anything. This doesn't mean seeking out pain. It means accepting that difficulty is part of the human experience, and that wisdom often emerges from our struggles. Lesson 4. The limits of pure reason. Don't let us forget that the causes of human actions are usually immeasurably more complex than our subsequent explanations of them. The Enlightenment promised that reason could solve all human problems. Philosophers like Kant and Voltaire believed rational thinking could replace superstition and create perfect societies. Dostoevsky disagreed. He saw that humans are fundamentally irrational creatures. Our most important decisions, whom to love, what to believe, how to find meaning, aren't made through spreadsheets and logic trees. Consider your own life. Did you choose your career through pure cost-benefit analysis? Did you fall in love because of rational calculations? Of course not. Emotion, intuition, and mystery play enormous roles in human experience. This isn't anti-intellectual. It's recognizing that intellect alone cannot manufacture happiness or meaning. As Dostoevsky wrote, "It's life that matters. Nothing but life, the process of discovering, not the discovery itself." Happiness should emerge as a byproduct of meaningful engagement, not as a goal to be achieved through rational planning. Lesson 5. The burden of consciousness. The cleverest of all, in my opinion, is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month. Here's a paradox. The more intelligent we become, the more we might suffer. Consciousness, for Dostoevsky, was almost a disease. It makes us question everything. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's the point of it all? Since we can't definitively answer these cosmic questions, we develop anxiety and depression. The highly intelligent often suffer most because they see the contradictions and uncertainties that simpler minds miss. In The Idiot, Dostoevsky's favorite of his own novels, the main character is mistaken for a fool precisely because he's innocent and good-hearted. Too much self-analysis, even the kind Socrates promoted, can drive us toward madness. Sometimes it's better to live life than to endlessly analyze its meaning. Sometimes ignorance really is bliss. The lesson isn't to stop thinking, but to balance reflection with action, analysis with acceptance. Lesson 6. The complexity of good and evil. Nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him. We love simple moral categories: heroes and villains, good guys and bad guys, saints and sinners. But Dostoevsky shows us that human nature is far more complex. Raskolnikov commits horrible murders, yet he's fundamentally decent. Sonia is labeled a prostitute and outcast by society, yet she has the purest heart in the novel. We sympathize with Raskolnikov precisely because we recognize something of ourselves in his struggles with ambition, fear, and self-doubt. This insight is crucial for our polarized times. Before we write someone off as evil, we might ask, what circumstances shape them? What pain might they be carrying? What good might exist alongside their flaws? This doesn't excuse harmful behavior. It means recognizing that humans are neither purely good nor purely evil, but complex beings capable of both nobility and terrible mistakes. Even our own moral lives are more complicated than we'd like to admit. After his early success, Dostoevsky himself became radicalized and was arrested. After his later triumphs, he became addicted to gambling. We are all works in progress. Lesson 7. The power of personal responsibility. If you want to be respected by others, the great thing is to respect yourself. Only by that, only by self-respect, will you compel others to respect you. This lesson attracted existentialist philosophers like Nietzsche and Camus to Dostoevsky's work. He challenges us to take full responsibility for our actions, regardless of circumstances. Raskolnikov, despite his intelligence, spends most of the novel rationalizing and justifying his crime. Only through Sonia's influence does he finally accept responsibility for what he's done. And only then does he begin to heal. In our current culture, we often look for external forces to blame for our problems. While systemic issues certainly exist, Dostoevsky reminds us that personal responsibility is where meaning begins. This doesn't mean ignoring social problems or blaming individuals for structural inequalities. It means recognizing that we always have some choice in how we respond to our circumstances. Taking responsibility is empowering. It means we're not victims of fate, but agents of our own destiny. As Dostoevsky wrote, if you want to overcome the whole world, overcome yourself. Lesson 8. Finding beauty in unexpected places. Judge people not by what they are, but by what they strive to become. Dostoevsky's years in the labor camp transformed his understanding of human nature. Before his exile, he fought for the poor without really knowing them. After living among common criminals and peasants, he discovered something surprising. There was often more honesty and beauty among society's outcasts than among the educated elite. The prisoners accepted their guilt and took responsibility for their actions. The intellectuals rationalized and made excuses. He found profound truth at the bottom of society and troubling hypocrisy at the top. This lesson challenges our assumptions about worth and value. The person society dismisses might have wisdom we need. The individual struggling with addiction, poverty, or mental illness might possess insights about resilience that the successful cannot understand. Beauty, for Dostoevsky, wasn't about appearance or status. It was about having an honest heart, one free from both social deception and self-deception.